This hour with Prince Harry's return to the UK, and he arrived in the past half hour to take part in a service at St Paul's Cathedral celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games. You can see the Prince there arriving a short moment ago on those steps up to St Paul's. But while he's in the UK, he won't be meeting his father, the King. A spokesperson for Prince Harry said His Majesty's full programme meant there was no time for them to get together. Well, GBNews' royal correspondent Cameron Walker is outside St Paul's Cathedral now, where the ceremony is taking place. Cameron, spectacular weather you have there, and indeed the crowd were warmly welcoming of Prince Harry as he arrived a few moments ago.
Yeah, they absolutely were, Martin. He arrived in a Range Rover just at the entrance behind me, actually. He was wearing his military medals. Of course, he served 2 tours of Afghanistan himself. When he got out of the car outside St Paul's Cathedral, the crowds did very much cheer him. There was huge support for the Duke of Sussex here when he was walking up the steps into the cathedral. Of course, the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games this year. The inaugural games were held in London in 2014. It all stems from Prince Harry being on a flight back from Afghanistan, accompanied by, very sadly, the coffin of a soldier, a Danish soldier, and 3 wounded British soldiers as well. And he was inspired by the Warrior Games in 2013 in the United States and set up the Invictus Games in 2014 when he was part of the Royal Foundation, where he worked alongside the then Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, now of course the Prince and Princess of Wales. Since Harry stood back as a working member of the royal family, he is very much taking the Invictus Games Foundation by himself. Family members inside the cathedral, the only 2 that I have spotted were Earl Spencer and Lady Jane Fellows. They are Prince Harry's uncle and aunt, the siblings of Diana, Princess of Wales. As for other members of the royal family, the King, the Queen, Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, and the Princess Royal, they're in the Buckingham Palace garden right now, hosting a garden party. No word as to where Prince William is. Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace not commenting on anything to do with the Duke of Sussex. We also know that Prince Harry is not meeting his father, the King, while he is in the United Kingdom. We are told that is because, according to Prince Harry's spokesperson, who I spoke to yesterday, the King's diary is very, very busy. And I'm also told that Prince Harry is very understanding about that. That it's a very diplomatic response. It was very warm, very welcoming. It read a little bit like a royal press release, to be perfectly honest, which is a far cry from the kind of press release or statement we would get from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex just a few years ago, where the dealings of Megxit was being thrashed out. It appears to be a bit more warmer. It appears to be a sign that Prince Harry is wanting to perhaps focus more on his military work, on his patronages, and mend the relationship between him and King Charles and him and the rest of the royal family. But Prince Harry's focus today very much on the Invictus Games, supporting and celebrating those wounded veterans from 23 nations. Over 500 competitors have taken part. The whole ethos of the Games is through sport you can change lives and save lives. Now, Prince Harry is delivering a reading inside the cathedral during this service. Actor Damian Lewis is also inside. He is reading the Invictus poem. Invictus is Latin for unconquered. It's a poem written in Victorian times. It's got some pretty not very nice themes, to be honest, but it's all about the willpower and the strength in the face of challenges, alluding to the plight of amputees at that time. So Prince Harry very much supporting the veteran community as he goes on through the 10th anniversary of Invictus Games. And then he'll be going to Nigeria later this month with Meghan, who is still in California, a country which hopes to host the Invictus Games in a few years' time.
And Cameron, you're there on the ground. Can you give us an idea of the numbers of people who've turned up? Often at these things, sometimes there are more journalists than spectators. How big is the crowd? What kind of people there? Is it a mixture of Brits? You'd imagine there are a lot of tourists about.
Yeah, I reckon there was about 50 journalists, Martin, and I think there were definitely perhaps 10 times the amount of members of the public. Whether or not they just happened to be passing by as tourists, or whether they were specifically here to welcome and cheer Prince Harry, we don't know for sure. I think there was certainly a mix of both royal fans, Prince Harry fans, and indeed tourists who were just very lucky and happened to stumble across St Paul's Cathedral and the Duke and Sussex when he arrived. But if you remember back to the Platinum Jubilee back in summer 2022, there was a service of thanksgiving for the late Queen Elizabeth II. Prince Harry and Meghan attended that service, and at that time, when they were walking up the steps, there was a mixture of booing and cheering. Today, for Prince Harry, attending the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games, there was only cheering from what I could hear. Of course, it's just a sample of two events that have happened at St Paul's Cathedral, but it does give you perhaps a sense of progress when it comes to Prince Harry and his relationship with both the British public, tourists and indeed the royal family.
Cameron Walker there, live at a very sunny St Paul's Cathedral, talking through the arrival there of Prince Harry. We'll come back to you later in the show, but for now, I'm joined by the former royal correspondent Michael Cole. Michael, no doubt there'll be quite a lot of relief within Prince Harry's group. OK, Michael's going to come to us shortly. I think they'll be very relieved at that reaction within the Sussex camp because, as Cameron Walker said, previously Meghan and Harry were booed when they arrived at a ceremony, and that becomes the headline that goes around the world. You know, the reaction was much warmer. As Cameron Walker said, there were 50 journalists. He reckons about 10 times 500 members of the public. Although, to be fair, St Paul's Cathedral is always very, very busy on days like this. They may just have been going by. Now, I've got a few of your comments. You've been getting in touch about this event throughout the show. You can see Harry there going up those beautiful steps to one of the world's finest cathedrals at St Paul's. Now, Alexander here is sympathetic to Prince Harry's point of view. He says this: I think it's disgraceful that Charlie, he means King Charles, can't make time for his son. Considering Harry has told us about his mental health issues in the past, it's terrible for him to be ignored in this way. And in fact, Harry, not Harry, I'm assuming himself, furthers that opinion, said, I have every sympathy for Harry. It's not fair to shut him out like this. However, Anne has the opposite view. She says this: King Charles, being treated for cancer, does not need any more anxiety and stress caused by Harry and Meghan. The royal family cannot trust Harry and Meghan Markle. The damage has been done. Charles and Kate cannot take the chance of any more distress. It will not help their well-being. And we can now cross to Michael Cole. Michael, so a very positive welcome for the Prince there. No doubt there'll be a huge sigh of relief from within Camp Sussex.
Yeah, Martin, a much warmer welcome than, as Cameron said, the Platinum Jubilee Thanksgiving service for Her Majesty the Queen. There was ragged jeering and there was booing in the crowd. I think, in a way, the crowd are also cheering Invictus. It was no praise is high enough for this initiative that Prince Harry took. And of course, all those initiatives were pre-Meghan. The Centarbele African charity, his 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, serving his country as a commander of an Apache attack helicopter. And of course, Invictus, a brilliant concept, but he didn't do it alone. The Ministry of Defense was heavily involved and still is, and were his brother and his sister-in-law. They were extremely close at that time. They'd only recently been married, and Prince Harry was in their apartment at Kensington Palace more or less all the time. I think Prince William got a bit fed up with having his younger brother around his brand new wife all the time. And that's how close they were. And that actually shows you how very, very deep this schism is in the royal family, with the California 2 over there in the Hilltop Fortress and the royal family over here getting on with work. But this action, this non-meeting of the king, that's very much a right royal flea in the Prince Harry's ear from the king. Words have power, actions have reactions. And I think what we're seeing now, a lot of people will be saying about time too, because the things that have been said by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex over the last 4 or 5 years have been very wounding, very unkind, very unjust. And they've attacked the King, Queen Camilla, as she is now, Prince William, of course, and most egregiously, Kate, the Princess of Wales, who, of course, is enduring her cancer treatment at the same time as bringing up 3 young children. All of that is going to be very, very hard to stomach by the royal family. And I think they're showing their displeasure after all that's gone on, because it's not nice in any family when there's a falling out. But with the royal family and with these 2 brothers who couldn't have had lives of greater privilege and greater advantage, to see them falling out and fighting as they are, daggers drawn, is so sad. And you mentioned, and Cameron mentioned, their mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, much missed, and her sister and brother there today. She always wanted those boys. In fact, she made them swear always to be there to support each other and to love each other. And they did that. And now Harry is back in the city of his birth. I hope he reflects upon her words and perhaps starts to do something about it.
Yeah, let's hope some good can come of it. And certainly for now, Michael Cole, a very, very warm reception for Prince Harry today. And may I say, looking resplendent in your wonderful fuchsia pink tie on this wonderful summer's day. Michael Cole, always an absolute delight to have you on the show. Giving us a royal wave with that tie.